Hello, this is Stockfire, and once again, this is for education and entertainment purposes only. How the hell are you getting any entertainment out of this? I have no idea. Anyway, so you have this gradual accumulation type pattern. Usually, like if it was going to be a distribution cat ears thing, it would look like, I'm going to give it a real quick thing. The cat ears would have this pole, it would have this ear, then it would come down, go flat, but then at about the same speed, come back up, form a cat ear, and then drop. So we're not seeing that cat ear. There are lower cat ears, but they usually have they're not in an ascending type of accumulation type pattern like this. All right. Now, as you can see, we've been having higher highs, higher lows, but I want to just go over this trading range since we've been in the bottom area here, just to go over this. I was going to try to make this fast, but at the same time, every time I try to, I end up not really getting it accomplished. Okay, so just using this for the trading range to show you where the trading has been happening on this short-term area. Okay, so obviously we broke out of it today. So what happens on a level when it's like this? So what it looks like to me is very similar to this, where you do it's done a sign of strength, it's pulled back into the trading area, it's come up, it shouldn't go as high, it should pull back down into the trading area, and then the last move up should be barely on the cusp of the trading area, touch it, and then take off. So if it's to take off, I assume it's going to be after hours, and it's setting it up to do that, or pre-market in the pre-market, and it could go as high. This could be the point where it takes off up high on earnings. Yes. Okay. So that's kind of like my earnings breakdown could be that is the point where they used to move. Okay, so why do I think they'll do a pre-market? Okay, let's kind of look at that. So if I'm correct about this part, and it's pulling back now, 3 hours I guess left in the day, then we expect to pull back to be not as far as this, so somewhere around 315, and then the next move up won't be as high. It should be a little bit higher than this, probably like where the line is right now, and then a pullback slightly, maybe ending the day around 6 or 516. Then we would have the move. So it should look like, yeah, pretty much like that. So if we get a good pullback now, that'd be good, with the Wyckofian type of push off. Now, the other thing is the volume has picked up here. Is this a pickup because they're planning on pushing it, or are they selling off and are going to pull it back down and then take off? that's a hard guess, right? And in the past, I would normally have thought it was going to do a cat ear type thing, which it did not do, uh, where it was going to then fall back down into the range and get the shorts excited, and then suddenly do a reversal where then it comes back up. But even this type of setup should not fall that far down with the way it's, it should come in, maybe barely break the range and then turn around. So it's not breaking the overall, just barely breaks the trading range and then takes off. But it would give the shorts a feeling of that it's, to pile on, and then they buy them up, and then they get out, and it helps them push it up. So there's two ways they can move it up after hours, or they can use the shorts to kind of move it up. My confidence level is still pretty high. I think I called this pretty correct. The volume, since all this has increased, this volume here, I think, was primarily buying volume. Also, they're not going to sell off less than up here, right? Although the volume does seem to be closer to the tops, they seem to be part of a major move pushing the stock up, instead of just selling at the top. Like, it's not staying at the top in high volume type of approach. So yeah, so they like to do stuff on like earnings and stuff, major points, when they got more eyes on it. So if they start to move it out of the range they want other institutions to push it up, for the most part. So once they start, I think this is the sign that it's moving out of the range. So institutions should start pushing up, and they'll know at what level to cut this off. And then when I say cut it off, that just means they will then drop it down and go into the normal phases of an SOS before the larger pickup. And this is what it'll look like on the top of the other thing too, if I would have made the box a little bit longer here. Now, if this part goes up higher, I don't know what that would indicate. So I imagine it's going to pull back. Let's see. Let's move this over and just zoom in. Sorry. Okay. So you see how it's peaked into the range, or came over the range, come back into the range, didn't come as high, which is what you expect, and then you want it to come back in, probably down to this level. So let's mark that somehow. I'm sure like fancy people will be using Fibonacci stuff. So we want it to pull back to around, well, it can't be as low as that, so we want it to pull back, I'd say somewhere around 513, I guess, zooming in. So right now we should see it kind of coming back down to this. So it should look something to this effect, where it comes back down in a gradual kind of way. We'll touch this, trade a little bit here. Volume should pick up at this point. This is where we should see a pretty big volume pickup. It will then turn into this, and end the day hopefully on this 517 level, because this will indicate that it's ready to take off. Institutions will understand it. So it's got to be by the end of the day, so we could stretch this out, but that's basically the idea, and this would be more straight line up. It's not giving me that option, I don't think. Good volume catch, good volume push up. See, wicks like this shows you like during the period that they may have sold off a little bit at the top, but then again they could have just moved down. And if you look at it, it's not this one with the wick, it's not a high volume one, right? A high volume one is this one here, which is followed by a higher move. So they did not push all this volume in. They're not selling off here. And then you look over here. Was that just to push it down? Just to start moving the price down? I think so. And then you got several over here. The wicks being at the bottom, it signifies more buying than selling, in my mind. Sometimes it's hard to read, but usually where the wick is, if the wick's on the top, it's usually, not usually, but sometimes it's a good indication that it's selling. And so we have one wick over here like that on the top. I am not into like wick analysis, but this one could be perceived as a selling possibility, but it could also be shorts dropping in when they hit that line of the range, thinking that it was gonna, they'd be able to push it back down, not knowing that it's, well out. It's out of the range of the current little small range. So, yeah, to me it's like on the smaller white coffee in range, it's a sign of strength followed by the pattern building up to a takeoff, which should happen after hours. So, yes. So what happens if it doesn't? What if it? So, what gives me even more conviction? Well, it's broken this little tiny range, and it's not doing what a normal, because how you would measure the range. Sorry about that. I will mute myself and catch you on the flip side.